The family station. It's now time for family time.
Hi, good evening, and welcome to Family Time. Family Time is your program about your issues, your problems, your topics, and we want you to enjoy the program today. Now, my co host this evening is Roland Gale. How are you, brother?
I am well and giving thanks. I'm really giving thanks today.
It's
And
so good to have you.
it's so good to be here. And thank you for having me here today.
Great, great, great. So, Roland, you're going to talk to our guest about what is coming up.
Yeah. And as we all know, family time is about your issues, your relationships, your at home family, your community family, your global family. Family time is produced by Family Life Ministries. And our aim here is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy communities and healthy nations. So today, we're going to talk about friends. And I want you to stay with us and join us as well on all the different platforms that we have.
Some say that friends are chosen family. I like that. Are
Yeah.
your friends like family? Are you like family to your friends? Or do you disagree with the sentiment? Would friends being like family be a horrible thing for you? Well, we'd like to explore the true meaning of friends today, not the popular Facebook or reality version of friendship. And as we do that, we want to hear from you. Some of the things a friend does for another friend to show that they're friends.
That's right. We want to hear all those different things. So, WhatsApp, your text and your voice notes, make sure they're not any longer than 30 seconds. We don't want them to be longer than 30 seconds. And our WhatsApp number is 876 997 3125. I'll repeat that, 876 997 3125. Or you can call the studio lines, and those are 876 968 8327 or 876 968 8328, and you can participate with us. And what we want is some of the things a friend does for another friend to show that they are friends. And throughout the program, we'll share your input. All right. Remember, you can watch us live on Love 101 Facebook and on YouTube. And we'll be right back with our guest. So stay with us. All right.
We all know we should set aside money for a rainy day. Here are some tips to help build your emergency fund. Don't mix your emergency savings account with any other account. The harder it is to access, the more likely you will be to leave the money there. Set up automatic deposits to keep your contributions consistent. Avoid high-risk investments and consider options like low-risk unit trust funds.
Visit burrito.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Life comes at you fast and it can hit hard. Apply for the Credit Union Prepaid MasterCard from C&WJ with chip and PIN protection. Need a card with a personal line of credit for emergencies? We have that. Need a card you can use to shop online for that must-have item? We have that. The community and workers of Jamaica Prepaid MasterCard. All the convenience of a MasterCard. Discover the benefits of belonging.
Speaking in tongues is also known as the divine tongue or the heavenly dialect. Some call it the angelic language. Whatever you call it, speaking in tongues has seen some controversy within and without the body of Christ. Some believe that those who speak in tongues are spirit-possessed and not necessarily in a good way. What do you say? Well, tune into The Rock, Tuesday, September 7th, with host Pastor Harold Steve Blair and guests Hurley Taylor and Bishop Grace Adigold as they discuss speaking in tongues. Is speaking in tongues meant to confuse and confound? Find out this Tuesday at 10 a.m. on The Rock, right here on Love 101 FM, the family station. The Rock, solid, objective, substantial.
Oh my gosh, guess what? We're at the next stop of the I Love Summer Tour, St. Thomas. 101, 101,
101. Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101, and welcome to our special guest, Tanya Powell Edwards. Tanya holds a BA in Guidance and Counseling and is a candidate for Masters in Counseling and Consulting Psychology. She has additional experience in the areas of training and brings all of her professional knowledge into skills like life coaching. Tanya is a change agent and uses all her life experiences, education, and training to help others change their lives to a more meaningful one. How are you, Tanya?
I'm fantastic. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you.
Welcome, Tanya. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
To the audience, yes, ma'am. And to the audience, we want you to be in contact with us. We want to hear from you. We need you to tell us some of the things a friend does for another friend to show that they are friends. All right. So WhatsApp your text and voice notes. Make sure that they are no longer than 30 seconds. And the WhatsApp number again, 876-997-3125. All right. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and on YouTube. Or you can call the studio lines, 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. And we want you to participate. So call us during the program, all right? We'll share your thoughts.
So who or what is a friend? That's the million-dollar question this evening. I know we love to use that word, but is it okay to just roll it out in every situation? Has the word been watered down with time and social media? Or do we really mean it when we say, you are my friend? What do you mean when you say, you are my friend?
All right.
Go ahead, Tanya. Thank you. I was just going to ask you to come in.
Right. I thank you guys so much once again for having me. And in your description, you talk about the idea of friendship being something that is watered down. And I think to a degree that has happened. And so as Christians and also as social scientists, we always like to get into what is the true meaning of this word. And I'm going to share two definitions with you. One that is a very basic definition, and the next one that is a psychological definition, so that we can kind of be reminded about a friend, who is a friend, what is a friend. So the basic definition is a person with whom we have a bond of mutual affection, right? A bond of mutual affection. And typically it is exclusive of sexual or family relations. Nowadays, we even call our cousins our friends, but the basic definition is somebody that is not necessarily related to you or someone that you don't have a sexual relationship with, but you have formed some mutual affection for that person. There is a bond there. And that's your most basic definition. Let's look a little bit into the definition from psychology. And from psychology, it says it's a voluntary friendship. It is voluntary. It is something that is long-lasting. It is something where you share common interests, and it is mutually gratifying. So this friendship is not one-sided. It is mutually gratifying to both persons. And so there you see the commonalities between both the basic and the definition from psychology, that there is some bond and mutuality in this friendship. And that is what I want people to remember, even as you're listening to us and you're kind of doing your assessments of some friendships that you've had, maybe in the short term, the medium, or long term, so you can really begin to examine these friendships and see if they fit the definition that we're talking about today.
That's so very
So,
interesting. And sorry, Tamaya, just wanted
yeah, man.
to ask Tanya, if we are talking about relationships that are exclusive or that do not involve family relationships or sexual relationships, is it that my wife cannot be my friend or my brother cannot be my friend? How would you look at that?
Well, when we look at those basic definitions, remember we said we're also in a time when a lot of things are mixing. There was a
Right.
time when I used to wear both silver and gold, and people would say, "You can't do that. That doesn't go." And
Yeah.
now I can walk easily into a jewelry store and pick up an item that is mixed with both.
Right.
So I do think that there is sometimes some intertwining of understandings, especially if these are the persons that are closest to you. But we have to also bear the definition in mind, because our relationships are not only formed with our spouses and our immediate family members, but
Right.
we are existing in a wider community.
Hmm.
Now, are there different types of friends or friendships? So
I
we
would
have,
say
yeah,
yes.
is your
Yeah.
best friend different from a spiritual friend, or are there different types?
I would say yes. And even if I look at my own existence, I don't keep a large pool of friends, but even within my small circle, I will have persons that I discuss different things with.
Right.
No, we talk about a friendship is something that is mutually satisfying. It's not a one-sided thing. And so what you will find is that, because for me, relationships are important, truth is
Right.
important, integrity is important.
Yes.
So I would want to have friends who those things are as important to them as it is to me. And so when I find myself in situations where I need another ear to listen to me, to say, how is Tanya sounding? Is she sounding hurt? Or is she sounding healed? And so on. I will tap into these friendships who I know they're going to listen to me with that friend ear, but also that level of objectivity, so that they can tell me the truth,
Right.
not necessarily what I want to hear. And so sometimes, yes, friends will take different places in a best friend sometimes could be someone that you grew up with from primary school, high school, different stages of your
Life.
existence. But a
Yes.
spiritual friend could have understanding that the best friend doesn't have. And so spiritual things take people who have spiritual understanding. And yes, indeed, that person could become your friend, because within them you find answers to things that are meaningful to you, including, how do I interpret this dream? How do I understand this sign? And so, yes, there are times when all our friendships are not necessarily equal.
That's so interesting. Tanya, you had mentioned earlier in the definition that friendships are voluntary. How
Mhm.
does that tie into a situation where a child is put into a particular class, or like in the COVID situation now, we are confined to different areas and we're not allowed to move around freely anymore? We have to kind of form what I would call involuntary friendships. How would you describe that, or how would you assess those?
I think that is a great question and a great analogy, because indeed we can't control everything about life,
Right, right,
right?
right.
And so sometimes too, what you find, I like to look at group dynamics in those situations where when you're forced into a setting, you still do make a choice about who you
Mhm.
partner with. And sometimes I have fun with that, knowledge, because I'll walk into a room and sometimes you see people come into the room and they make choices about where to sit and who to sit beside.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
very
true.
interesting
Yeah.
because somebody who is fat, like, really struggling with their weight issues and with the thoughts and insecurities that sometimes come with that, will walk into a room and sit beside somebody who measures up beside them in weight, and they think they're okay, we have a commonality here, so this person is going to understand me. And sometimes you get that and sometimes you don't. So if you're forced into a space, you're still going to find something that is common between you and an individual. No, interestingly, I think if you're locked into a space with just one or two individuals, some things are going to happen in that space if you don't like each other at first. So there's going to be an amount of clashing taking place, because maybe I don't like you because you look too aggressive, or I'm scared of you, or something is going on mentally when you see this individual and you try to understand your own existence through the eyes of that person. But if you're locked into that space for a long time, what tends to happen if you want to exist and to come out of it alive is that you begin to kind of brush aside those things that caused you to have the inhibition in the first place. And you are forced now to begin to find the common things that would not normally have brought you together in that friendship. But because you're locked into a space, you now are forced either to fight or to become friends. And
Right.
hopefully you find the friendship in each other and become friends and come out of that together in unity.
Okay.
One
And
other quick
Tanya, what I
question.
want to do before you go on is that we want to remind our listeners of the question: what are some of the things that a friend does for another friend to show that they're friends? And we want you to WhatsApp text your voice notes, not longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 968-8328 to participate. I'm also encouraging you to friend us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries. Follow us on Instagram at FLMJA and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. The numbers for the Family Life Ministries head office are 876-920-1034 or 926-8101. Now, for me, one of the things that somebody can do to prove themselves a friend is to be supportive, to be encouraging, to be honest, and to speak the truth even when it hurts. But the speaking the truth when it hurts, for me, is that one thing that differentiates the friend from anybody, because there are a lot of people who will go out and say, well, the truth hurts, and they just talk it and they're tactless in it. But a friend is going to care about you so much that they will have a hard truth to tell you, and they're going to give you that bitter medicine in as sweet a way, in as gentle a way as they can. So for me, that's one of the markers of a friend, one who will tell the truth, even if it is going to hurt you, but they're trying to inflict as little pain as possible in delivering that message to you. Roland,
That's so
what
cool.
about you?
Yeah, Tamaya, I agree with you 100%. I would add something else as well. One of the things a friend does for me to show me that they are my friend is they seek my company. When
Yes.
when somebody wants to spend time with me, and when I approach them, they encourage me and say, wow, it's good to hear you, or how are you doing? That kind of seeking to be with me, or seeking for me to be with them,
Yeah.
is to me a very, very good sign of who a friend is. Is Of course, I agree 100% with what you said, but that just adds a little
A
gravy,
nice addition, yes.
a little gravy on it for me.
I agree, Roland. Tanya,
Yeah,
so
sorry,
go ahead.
Tanya, I wanted to ask a question as well regarding time. How does time impact friendships? Or what does time do, or how is time a factor?
I think time is important, but it varies across the lifespan. So, as children, when we have a little concept of time, especially if we live in close proximity, we probably want to spend an innumerable amount of time together. You find that as friends now, you're heading into your 20s, your 30s, the value of the friendship sometimes determine the various changes that may occur. We also have things like migration,
Yes.
where some people have to migrate and that affects the friendship. What you find now is that in the age of social media, even I sometimes sit back and try to track people that I've lost contact with, but there was a point in my life when that person was of great value. Whether it is that we
Yes.
could just talk for hours about anything and nothing at all, or I would be learning something from them, or like how they think, or when we spend time together, we could go out to church together, go to a party together, whatever it is. And so you find that with social media, people are trying to find back a lot of their friends,
Yeah.
you know. Another word that comes to my mind when I think about friendship is value. What is the value of the friendship to both of us? And so you find that sometimes people that we thought were our friends, they show us that they don't value us as much as we value them. And now a new thing sets into the friendship, which could be things like disappointment, a lack of trust, and so on. And then you realize that both of us don't value the friendships in the same way. And we now begin to adjust how we think about the individual, adjust the
Yes.
amount of time we spend with the individual, and so on. So it really depends on shared bond, shared value, and of course, shared time. I must say, though, that as an adult, I have friends who, and I'm just using myself as an example here, friends that live far away, overseas. And they would
Yes.
say to me, Tanya, let us commit to talk at least once a week. And I said, no, 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 no. We know that what we share is so tight that we don't necessarily have make this commitment, because what's going to happen is if we make this commitment and don't keep to the commitment because of work or whatever, no, some other emotions like disappointment and pressure is going to set in. And so for that particular friendship, we know that we are there if needed.
Yeah.
Right.
But if there is no need, continue with your merry way, be there for your husband and your wife, work, go to school, whatever you want to do. But if you see a text coming that says need to talk,
Yeah.
then I'm available because my friend is in need of my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to back up a little bit. So just the types of friends, and I wondered to myself, how many friends do we really need to have? Because you mentioned that you have different friends you share different things with, but do we need 10 friends? Do we need 50, 100? Like, how many friends do we need?
That answer is going to vary from person to person. Sometimes you get these little these little sayings like,
Yeah.
some people come to my gate, some people come to my veranda, and some people one or two people can come into the bedroom. You don't know what life experiences are going to be there for you. You don't know where you're going to go. You don't know who you're going to interact with. So it's going to
Yeah.
be difficult to say how many friends should a person have. But what you will have is, because the experiences are varied, you will have that core, a small core that that can come into the bedroom, because you
Yeah.
trust them in that most inner and private space. So
And
while
how,
I can't give you a number, it is
yeah.
true that we have friendships at different levels. Some are wide, they're just for surface conversations.
Right.
Some are inner. Some are the ones that you say, okay, I'm going to talk to you about my husband, I'm going to talk to you about my wife, but there is a reason why. And if anything that is shared within that space gets leaked,
Yeah.
because of the level of trust in that space, once any leakages occur, it's going to be almost damning for a long time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when we say that we have mutual, and so you move from sometimes hearing people say, just that is my friend, but this is my best friend.
Yeah.
So sometimes people use these words to kind of bring it a little closer to who this
Right.
is.
How do we then determine who falls into which category? Who is the best friend who can come into your bedroom? Who is the one that, who are the friends that can come into your living room? And who are the others who don't pass the gates? Like, how do we determine who falls where?
I really think that this is a word that we're going to take from the Bible, and it is the word wisdom.
Yeah.
The word wisdom and the word and time also has a lot to do with wisdom. So if you meet somebody today and you have some bonding and some mutuality, but you've not given yourself time to know them and you take them straight into your bedroom, you may be in for some serious trouble.
Yeah,
Because
that might not be wise, right?
Right.
Because you don't know enough about the person.
Right.
I would say that friendships within, it's just like a relationship. You see, you're looking for a partner, husband or wife, a serious relationship. But 3 months to 6 months, it's infatuation. You need take time to know her. It's not an overnight affair.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
It to
And
me
so-
kind of comes back to the time factor,
Yes.
because there's a
Time
phrase
is
that I
very
really
important.
love. It says
Yeah.
time and truth walk hand in hand, and so
Yeah.
you'll begin to see the real true person over a period of time.
Yes.
Yes.
And it
And
won't
I
come
love
out
that.
immediately.
I love that what you just said. Remember that friendship is about seeing the true person and how do they match up, and why. What your why is very important. Why is
Yeah.
this person satisfying something
Mhm.
inside you? Why are they touching your heart, or are they
Yeah.
only touching your head, but you've mixed up your head with their
Mhm.
heart?
Yeah.
Very, very
I
important.
remember reading once, I think it was a book about dating, and one of the recommendations the author made was that when you're dating someone, before you decide to get married, you should date for at least a year so you get to see the person in all seasons of life. Is this somebody who gets depressed around Christmas time? You might need to know that, you know. Does this person get wild around spring break? You need to know that if you're dating for 3 months and then they decide they're going to get married, you miss out on something, on a part of the year, on how seasons affect them, holidays. Are you the kind of person that it's important to get gifts and give gifts, and this person doesn't think it's important? But you met in the 3 months of the year when there are no gift giving holidays, for example, and so you think, oh, maybe because it's not a holiday, you might never give me something, you know? And so it's important that when you said 3 months and 6 months is not enough, I remember that 1 year you get a full season, a cycle around the sun where you figure out, is this person somebody you want to keep in your corner?
Yeah, that's a lot of wisdom right there. And sometimes too, let's look beyond a year. Let's look beyond the 2 years. Somebody that's been there for a while. But remember that in most cases, your friend and you don't necessarily live together. You may
Right.
have some college experience or some, but you're not necessarily in the same household.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents have not necessarily reared you in the same way.
Right.
And so sometimes we have to understand too that friendships or a friend may be there for a period of time. They're not necessarily going to be there across the lifespan. And sometimes when friends, you may have commonalities and shared bond and everything, but then 5 years later or 10 years later, you see that there's something shifting or changing, and you're trying to hang on to this because of what you shared, only to be hurt. Because life is we're looking across the lifespan, and people change too,
Yes.
and people's interest changes, and people's values sometimes change. And sometimes people get a little wiser because of experiences that they have that you are not a part of. And so there are times when we have to love ourselves and the other person enough to let them go if they need to go, and we form new friendships and new bonds for the season that we're in.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Tanya. That's some very important stuff to think about. Time and the seasons and all of that. And to remind our listeners and our viewers, you've been listening and watching Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube and Facebook. This is produced by Family Life Ministries. And for our social media interaction, we want you to tell us some of the things a friend does for another friend to show that they are friends. Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes. And make sure your voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds, please. And you can send those to 876-997-3125. Or you can go onto the Love 101 Facebook page. You can also call our studio lines 876-968-8327 or 8, and you can participate that way. We are on Facebook and YouTube Live. We want to hear from you, so that's what we want you to talk about. The things a friend does for another friend to show that they are friends. We're going to continue talking about friends and friendships with Tanya Powell Edwards right after we take this break. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Building wealth the smart way means you have a clear mission for your money. Specific and measurable means defining the reason for your financial goals. Achievable and realistic means keeping those goals meaningful, yet attainable. Think more retirement, less world's richest. Timely means keeping a time frame in mind so that all efforts remain focused.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness invites members of the public to attend a vaccination site. Please visit vaccinationmoh.gov.jm or social media for details on location, opening hours, and vaccine type. The following are the sites for Tuesday, September 7. Westmoreland, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Savannah Lamar Health Center, Trelawney, Albert Town, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. St. James, Catherine Hall Health Center, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Montego Bay Comprehensive Health Center, Type 5, Sandals Inn, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Salters Hill Baptist Church, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the Mount Carey Health Center, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. In St. Anne, Alexandria Community Hospital, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Turtle River Park, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Portland, Port Antonio Health Center, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. St. Mary, Port Maria Anglican Church Hall, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Clonmel Primary and Infant School, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. In Clarendon, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Bustamante High School, Summerfield Community Center, Frankfield Health Center, and Denby Primary School. In St. Elizabeth, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., Mountainside Primary School, Santa Cruz Health Center, and Comapen Church of God of Prophecy. In Manchester, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Mandeville Regional Hospital, Harmony Hall, Harmons District. In Kingston and St. Andrew, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the National Arena, Mona Aging and Wellness Center, University Hospital of the West Indies. Hanover, Green Island Health Center, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. St. Catherine Caymanas Park, Portmore, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Persons should take their school ID, child's birth certificate, a government-issued identification, or letter from a justice of the peace to the sites. Let's get vaccinated and get back to life.
Real estate is big business. There are actually quite a few ways to make money by adding real estate to your investment strategy, such as buy shares in real estate or related companies, go with a fund featuring real estate packages in a single curated portfolio, become a proprietor and earn passive income from your vacation and long-term residential tenants or from commercial leases.
Visit burrito.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Welcome back. It is 6:05 and you are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Family Life Ministries provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore. We'll give them at the end of the program. Remember, we are FB and YouTube Live, so tune into the program via our Love 101 Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Tanya Powell Edwards is our guest. Tanya holds a BA in Guidance and Counseling and is a candidate for a Master's in Counseling and Consulting Psychology. Tanya believes she is a change agent and uses all her life experiences, education, and training to help others change their lives.
Tanya, you are a change agent, and so we're happy to have you with us. We are so happy to have you with us. This conversation has been really, really interesting to me. And as we progress in the conversation, I want to invite everybody to just make a comment, send them to us so that we can share them and we can all learn. And Tanya, I want to ask you very, very important question. How can I be a good friend?
All right. So here are some of the things that I want you to consider. If this person is your friend, are you committed to their happiness in the same way that you're committed to yours?
Wow.
Right? Or do you want them to be miserable, but you're always happy? Once there's an imbalance, you've got to start examining that friendship. What about somebody asking you to put your principles aside so that you can make them happy? Right? Are they saying, sure, forget that man, your friend, if a true friend would do this for me? Are they a good influence? Are they leading you into illegal activities? Are they saying, come on, if you were my friend, you would come with me? And so you have to ask yourself, the closer you're getting to this person is, what is it about them that makes me happy? Or am I miserable? Do they take more than they give?
Yes, that's such a good thing. And I wanted, in coming on, I read a little thing and it struck me as so interesting. There's a thing that Aristotle, I think it was, came up with, that he says there are three types of friends. There are friends of utility, friends of pleasure, and friends of our good. And if you have a friend of utility, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you're using the person, but is that really so? Do we really have friends of utility? And that's a good thing to have. That's a good friendship. Is that so?
I think you have to, each person has to assess this. When you said what Aristotle said, the first thing that came to my mind is probably a business type of friendship. Right. But even in a business type of friendship, there's a certain amount of respect. You can go into the areas of leadership and communication and pick up the words win-win. So even if we are not talking every day, but we have shared interest because of a particular business or business deal, do we want each of us to come out? Is this a win-win for both of us, or is it a win-lose? Is there some kind of power play going on? Right? And so, again, when we examine why we are connected, there are a lot of people in the Jamaican society, because we're so stratified in terms of the haves, the have-nots, and those in between, that a lot of there are people who feel good the higher up they think they can get to somebody as a friend. But if you have kind of a disparity, maybe between your financial situation and my financial situation, and we're polars apart, is even more to examine what is it that unites us? Is it your have and my lack? Or am I, one popular past talk show host used to talk about the lackeys. This friendship because of what you can get or what I can give. So really what we're seeing this evening is somebody, when you use the word friend, it's not a word that should be used lightly. Is this person an acquaintance, but you're mixing it up and calling them a friend? Because an acquaintance is somebody that you know a little bit of, you know enough about them, but really they're not, the mutual interest may not necessarily be so. We see people on television, and because we've seen them so often, we say, oh, that's my friend, I know him. Is it your friend? Do you really know him?
Yeah.
You know? So there is this constant, don't let people walk into your life, come through your gate, come into your import, and you never stop to ask yourself, what is this all about?
Okay. You know, when you mentioned that Aristotle's friendship of utility, what I thought about was the time of life friend, that you're maybe in a season and this person serves a purpose in your life. And so maybe the person is there for this 6 month stretch or maybe even a 1 year stretch where maybe this is the kind of person who you need, somebody who was maybe going to pull you out of your shell, somebody who was going to help you to become a little braver and be a little more adventurous, and that is what you needed at that time of your life. And I think because of our understanding of utility, we may just look on it negatively, that you're using the person, but utility is purpose, you know. Purpose. The person is purposeful, has a purpose for a time or a season in your life, and so that's what came to my mind. You know,
that is very useful, and I think it's very important because I think I said it before that if we look across the lifespan, we can't carry everybody with us all the way through, and sometimes what happens is that we misunderstand the season. The utility of the person for that season. And if you try to take somebody from the winter into the summer, they may not do well because they can't manage the heat, you know. So you know, all these things should be considered.
That's such a very good analogy. You can't come from winter into the heat just like that. You need to have some kind of transition and maybe a change of space. And I just want to remind our listeners, our viewers, of what we want you to do. We want you to participate. So send us your voice notes, send us your messages. Some things a friend does for another friend to show that they are friends, all right? And the WhatsApp number again, 876-997-3125, all right?
You know, Roland, another thing that is so important to me in a friend is somebody who is not quick to quit and give up and cut you off. So just this recognition that we are people, we are human beings, we're going to mess up, we're going to hurt each other, but we're going to try and work it out. And we're going to, we're not going to be quick to end the friendship because the person hurt you or disappointed you. But maybe we'll be willing to work things through and not be quick to say, you know, we're in this cut-off generation and this person will serve you, so you cut them off, and they stab you in the back and you cut them off. But with people, and a lot of the times too, we analyze how others are being friends to us, but we don't stop to think how we are being friends to others. And the best way to get a friend is to be a friend. So we have to also look at ourselves as we are thinking about what friendship is. Are we being friendly?
Lady Tanya, you have to comment on that.
Yes, that's powerful. Recently, and I agree with you, there is a little part there that I may not agree with, and hopefully I can get back there. But
I want to hear it.
For me, as a person who traditionally have been a very serious person, I came upon this saying recently that the water will show you your true reflection. So if I look in the water and my face is serious, it's not going to show me that I'm smiling, right? And so this ability for us to look at a situation and be honest with ourselves is very important.
Yes.
How we communicate as friends is also important. It is in the process of time and the showing of value that we are going to learn if this person is honest or if we're both honest with each other in our communication.
Yes.
So you talk about if we can sit and we can talk and we can say, when you did that, it hurt me.
Yes.
And you can allow me to speak and understand what I'm putting on the table to you. Then we learn a little more about each other and we can forgive and deepen our friendship and the value of our friendship and move on. But if I have to deal with a situation where a stab in the back, as you alluded to earlier, becomes something that becomes frequent.
Right.
And
And
my
that's different.
friend does not have the capacity to understand why they did it and why is it being repeated.
And why it hurt
Come
you.
on now. You have got to, obviously there is something there in the communication process that is a stopgap and it is causing a problem. You're going to have to reevaluate that friendship. Now, when you reevaluate it, you may still choose to remain friends or you may need to walk away. I'm going to share something that happened to me in high school without calling names, of course. But I had a circle of friends and we would do things together, you know, whatever time allowed, it was summer or after school, we'd meet together. And there was a particular time we took a picture together. As friends, it was just about loving each other enough to be with each other. So taking a picture was supposed to be something to keep.
Right.
There was one person who I later got to understand was taking that picture around and saying, of the number of persons on the picture, which was more beautiful, right? So one of the friends needed to hear from others that their analysis of this group of people on this picture. And when the others of us found out, it was something that caused us to be sad because the friendship did not mean for us to be looking at, okay, what is the texture of your hair compared to mine? What is the color of your skin compared to mine?
Yes.
Oh. And
It seems
other
like,
other things that don't have anything really to do with friendship, I would imagine, because
Right.
the color of your skin doesn't have anything to do with the friendship. How beautiful other people might think you are doesn't have anything to do with friendship
or the value of the friendship.
or the value of the friendship, because there are friendships that on the face of it you wonder how these people are friends, but there is more to it, and
Yes.
friendship is deeper than what we can look at. Friendship is something that we really have to value. And Tanya said a little while ago about the business of truth. Who you are is really what matters in friendships.
Right. And we just want to remind our listeners of the question today. What are some things that a friend does for another friend to show that they're friends? And it is now 6:18, and we have 2 voice notes that we want
Right.
to listen to right now while we wait on Tanya to return. Okay, that voice note is coming up.
Yes, good evening, family time. Yes, man, I've been listening to Tanya, and I believe she's licking the nail, the hammer right on the head of the nail. I recognize that some friendship will last forever, some friendship will not last. So I have a lot of acquaintances, but not a lot of friends, because I take friends seriously. And what I look for in a friend is honesty. yes, I like my friend to be honest. And
Yes.
sometimes as we grow, we recognize that changes come. Sometimes the best of a friend become jealous and all of that, and they start to change on you. So yes, seasonal friends, yes, it's so true. Sometimes you just have to let go some people and move on.
That's true. Honesty, true. And there's another voice note, I believe, Tamaya.
Yes.
I have a same similar position like what you're talking about. Friend hurting friend after 5 months of friendship. Knowing that you're the person related, that you tell the person everything secretly. I don't keep friend and I have this friend and tell this person everything. I know I am hurt. I don't keep friend and I have this friend and tell this person everything. I know I am hurting even now. Even today we have some little dispute about our friendship. I'm supposed to be an upliftment for the person. The person supposed to be my upliftment spiritually, but
Yes.
actually it went a little bit further than spiritual thing. And I'm hurting. I'm hurting, but I don't know how to forgive the person. I want to, but I just cannot know how to hurt the person. So I don't know if you have advice. I don't know how to forgive even now because it is so hot now. Now the heat is there, but I don't know how I'm going to forgive the person. I know I have to forgive him because I'm a Christian. So tell me what to do.
Okay. Tanya, did you hear enough of that voice note to respond?
I didn't. I don't know what
Okay.
happened. We just disconnected there.
Yeah, I realized. So this last voice note, the person said that she was friends with somebody and apparently something happened. They're supposed to they looked to each other, or she viewed the relationship as both of them would uplift each other spiritually. And something happened, and so she's hurting and she wants to forgive, but she's finding it difficult to forgive, and she wants advice on how to do that.
Well, one of the things that we think of, because I think the last section that I heard, she says, I want to forgive because I'm a Christian. And so that is an important enough reason to forgive. It may not be as difficult, may not be as easy, but one of the things that I realize is that persons don't know how to tell people you hurt me. And the way you frame the language is very important. So, for example, it is when this happened, last week Tuesday, when this happened, I was feeling deeply hurt, right? And you tell them why. So you don't attack the person, but you tell them how what they did impacted you, giving them some deeper understanding so that they can listen and really hear you at the heart level.
Yes.
Forgiveness also is said to be not for the other person, but for yourself. And so because you want to be clear, sometimes you say, let's be very Jamaican here. Sometimes I'll say to somebody, you did this to me, and them say, you're lucky, right?
Yes.
There are people like that.
And
what are you going to do? You still have to do the forgiveness for you. You have to empty yourself because unforgiveness blocks so many things. But if it is that this person says you're lucky, right? Then you have to reevaluate the friendship. But the first thing to do is to give the person the opportunity to understand how what they did impacted you at a negative place.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is important to add to that is understanding that forgiveness is different from healing. And that's something that people tend to mix up a lot, that you can choose to forgive, but it takes time to heal because you were hurt, and so let us say your child is walking around the iron board and you tell the child to move and the child didn't move and they pull the cord, and the iron burn you. Of course, you forgive the child, but it takes a week or 2 weeks for this burn to heal. And maybe depending on how bad the burn is, it is there with you for years. And so it's important for us to understand that sometimes when you feel the hurt is not a sign that you haven't forgiven the person, but don't allow the hurt to drive you back to unforgiveness. So let the hurt be a reminder: this happened, but I chose to forgive. This happened, but I'm letting go. I'm moving on.
That's so powerful, Tamaya. And don't let the hurt define the friendship. The friendship is outside and separate from that particular hurt. Just like it spoke about with the iron. Your relationship with your child is not based on an iron board and being burnt. It is much deeper and stronger and fuller than that. And so you can't allow it to define that. And that brings me to a different question. Can we be friends and disagree and have strong contrary opinions on things? Can we be friends and do that?
I think we can, because no friends are going to be exactly identical in their interests. And even when you have common interests, the way you see how to do things may be different. In my friendships, I like to say to persons, I like to use Bible scriptures, one that says, one shall chase 1,000, but two shall put 10,000 to flight. Yes. And I say to my friend, in that equation, it's not even logical, because 1 + 1 = 2. But when the two of us come together, we're putting 10,000 to flight. And that is because though I may have a fantastic idea, my friend may be able to add something to that makes it even so much greater, because we see things at different levels.
Right. Different perspectives can make the picture much richer. Wow.
Absolutely.
I love that. I am looking at the time, and we don't have much time, but I wanted to bring up one other thing. Can best friends, really best friends, be different genders? Can I be best friends with a woman? Can a woman be best friends with a man? Is that a good idea, bad idea? Particularly if you're married. What do you think of that, Tanya?
It can be problematic, but it's definitely not impossible. I think it is that if you've had a friend, if you're a male and you have this platonic relationship for a long time, then when you meet somebody who you're going to be connected with sexually, it is your responsibility to help that person understand why this relationship is important to you. When that third person comes in and sees and can see that it is really platonic, they may become friends with the person because they realize that that friendship is also important to you. But it should not be forced on an individual. And we must remember that there are some persons who don't think that you can be best friends with the opposite sex without something sexual taking place.
Yeah.
And if your partner is that person, you're going to have to be willing to put in the work to show how each person should value each other without it becoming problematic. And in a lot of cases, one person, usually the friend, is willing to either prove that they're just a platonic friend, or they're willing to step back so that you have the time to work on this relationship that you're looking at.
Wow, thank you so much. I want to thank you for being here with us, Tanya. As I said, we were running out of time, and I want to invite our audience, those viewers and listeners, if you have questions of a personal nature, or you have any concerns about a friend or a family member, call us at Family Life Ministries. For our center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue, you can call and use this number, 876-939-7917. Let me give you that number again. For our center in Portmore or at 117 Cecile Avenue, call 876-939-7917. You can also get more information on our services, or you can contact our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island. If you contact our head office, that's at 876-920-1034, or you can call 876-926-8101. I want you to note that appointments can only be made by calling these particular offices, all right? If you want other things to keep up to date on what's happening with Family Life Ministries and our different programs, you can find us on Facebook at Family Life Ministries on Instagram at FLMJA, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries, FLMJA.
Okay, so before we leave you, the verse for this evening is from Ecclesiastes 4, verse 10. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity the one who falls and has no one to help them up. Join us again next week at 5:30 on Love 101 FM, Facebook and YouTube Live via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, Tanya Powell Edwards. Thanks also to our show's producer, Kathy Gale of Open Door Communications, our studio facilitator, Roshane Douglas, and of course, you. I'm Tamaya Wilson, and on behalf of Roland and myself, stay well, stay safe, be blessed.
God bless you guys.